Hey there, welcome back. I'm Flat Rate Mechanic, and today we're diving into something that can be a bit tricky, checking the CVT transmission fluid in a Toyota, specifically those models without a dipstick. So if you've got a Toyota Corolla, or pretty much any newer Toyota with a CVT, you'll want to stick around for this. You might be asking yourself, how do I even check the fluid level without a dipstick? Well, let's break it down. First off, let's talk about why. Toyota went with this no dipstick system. They designed these CVTs to use what's called an overflow tube method. What this means is that instead of a traditional dipstick, you've got a fill plug on the side and a drain check plug at the bottom. The magic happens when you fill the transmission through that fill plug. When the fluid reaches the top of an internal overflow tube, it'll start dripping out of the drain check hole. That's your signal that it's full. But here's a crucial tip. You can't just check this fluid when it's cold. You need the transmission at operating temperature, which is between 176 and 194 degrees Fahrenheit. If you check it cold, you might end up underfilling it, which can lead to some costly damage. So keep that in mind. Now, this process isn't just for the Corolla. It applies to several Toyota models, including 2014-2023 Corollas with the 1.8-liter engine, some Camrys, and even certain Prius and RAV4 hybrids. So no matter your model, if it's got a CVT, this guide can help. Let's start by getting that old fluid out. You'll find a drain plug on the bottom of the transmission pan. Before you pull it, make sure you've got a drain pan ready to catch the fluid. It should hold at least 4 to 5 quarts. When you drain it, expect to get about 3.7 to 4.2 quarts out, depending on where the fluid is hanging out, like in the cooler lines or the torque converter. A little pro tip here, measure how much fluid you drain. It's a great way to know how much to put back in. I usually pour the old fluid into quart bottles for an accurate measurement, saves you from overfilling or underfilling later. Now, if you're dropping the pan to replace the filter, which I'd recommend, you'll need a 10mm socket for those pan bolts. Make sure to take them out in a crisscross pattern to avoid warping the pan. The filter and gasket on these Toyotas are all one piece, which makes it pretty straightforward. Just be gentle when you're reinstalling everything. Torque those bolts to 7 feet-pounds and the drain plug to 29 feet-pounds. Next up is locating that fill plug. It's on the side of the transmission, and you'll need to access it from underneath the car, so be sure to get the driver's side wheel off and remove the plastic inner fender. You're looking for a plug that you can break loose with a 15-16 wrench or a 24mm socket. Just a quick note, always check that you can loosen that fill plug before draining anything. Nothing worse than draining the fluid and realizing you can't refill it. Now that you're set to fill, let's talk about the fluid itself. For a 2015 Toyota Corolla CVT, you'll want the Toyota Genuine CVT Fluid FE. Don't even think about using generic ATF or any other CVT fluid. Trust me, I've seen problems arise within just 5,000 miles if you cut corners here. The right fluid is critical for the health of your transmission. To fill, keep that drain check plug out while you pour in the fluid. I recommend using a fluid pump or a long funnel with a hose because the fill hole can be a tricky angle. Start pouring with the transmission off. You'll likely add about 3 quarts before anything starts to happen. Keep an eye on that drain check hole because once fluid starts to drip out, you're getting close to being full. But here's where it gets important. You need to drive the car for about 10 to 15 minutes to get the fluid up to operating temperature. Then, bring it back, let it idle in park with the drain check plug still out, and cycle through all the gears a few times to circulate the fluid. If fluid is steadily dripping out, you're golden. If not, add in small increments until you see that drip. Okay, let's wrap up with some quick numbers and common mistakes to avoid. The Toyota Genuine CVT fluid runs about $25 to $30 per quart, and you'll need about 4 quarts for a drain and refill, adding up to around $100 to $120 just for fluid. If you're replacing the filter too, expect another $60 to $80 for the OEM kit. The total DIY cost could be between $140 and $240, which is a lot less than the shop rate of $500 to $950. Now, common mistakes. Don't check or fill the fluid when it's cold. Don't use the wrong fluid. And please don't over-torque the plugs. If you see any metal shavings when you check the magnet in the pan, that could be a red flag to get a professional to take a look. So, there you have it. Checking and changing your CVT fluid might seem daunting, especially without a dipstick, but once you get the hang of the overflow method, it's pretty straightforward. Remember to use the right fluid, check the temperature, and don't skip the filter if you're doing the whole service. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.